Ashok Swain, who is in Uppsala in Sweden, Professor of Peace and Conflict Research at Uppsala University. Appreciate you being online. We brought you in there slightly ahead of schedule. The situation in Sudan, I mean, for some people this might be a new thing, but I mean, this conflict and the suffering of the people of Sudan has been going on for 2 years and probably quite a bit beyond that. And the world has been kind of turning a blind eye to it on a geopolitical level. Do you think we're going to see more of a response this time round, now that this is getting a lot of attention?
I hope so, and I think so. But the thing is, as you rightly said, the conflict is not new. Conflict even goes before, as we know, 2019, when the long-time ruler was replaced, and then some sort of democratic form of governance was created. But then both Burhan and Hemeti was actually took over the power, and then the conflict started again after 2 years. And this is the violent conflict which is going on. And for more than 2 years, it has really resulted in a massive number of deaths and destructions. So more than 200,000 people have been killed. 15 million people have been displaced. More than half of the populations are facing acute food insecurity. And the latest conflict, which has resulted in the Darfur region, which the last town, which was has now fallen into the hand of Hemeti, is creating a massive humanitarian disaster. More than 2,000 people have been killed in 3 days, slaughtered. And I think this is where we hope that the international community should wake up. The African Union should wake up. These are the conflicts we cannot just let it go because the world is focused on other things right now.
How does that happen, though? As you said, this has been happening for years. And just to make it clear, we're talking repeatedly about the raping of civilians by soldiers, by paramilitaries. We're talking about summary executions. We're talking about ethnic cleansing in some areas. And nobody's really done anything to intervene, as it's been able to continue for years. How does that happen in the world we live in?
Oh, that is absolutely the kind of world we are now. But the thing is, for the last 2.5 years, when this Sudan conflict is at its peak, I think the world has been busy in Ukraine and also in Gaza. So we need to realize that the two superpowers are directly involved in those two conflicts. That's why the world's attention has been there. And the conflict here in Sudan has been an internal one. The external actors, those who are involved, they are not as prominent as in the two other conflicts where the international actors are the superpowers or at least the bigger powers. So in this case, I think we have this problem. But also other thing is that Africa, the conflicts are always somehow overlooked. I mean, we have seen massive humanitarian crisis and conflict just nearby in Ethiopia and Tigray region just before the conflict in Sudan started. And that had killed more than 500,000 people, but it never got the international attention. Similarly, Sudan is escaping the international attention because the international actors are indirectly involved. The conflict is going on between the two internal parties, and this is where we have, and the superpowers and the world's, the people, those who are supposed to bring it up to the international community notice, they are busy in other conflicts, as I mentioned, in Ukraine and Gaza.
I mean, both of the warring factions have been accused of atrocities against their own people, but most of it, certainly most recently, the accusations against the RSF. Where does the hatred come from to that level where soldiers, militants, are turning on their own people?
Yeah, this is quite absolutely unthinkable. I mean, there is no way that you should kill your own people, your own colleagues in that manner. But that has happened. The power, this is pure search for power or acquisition of power at any cost. And I think there is no way that they do want to any kind of negotiation and compromises. Both the parties have been used or have been accused or allegedly used the kind of mass killing use the gases which are banned by the international community. This is now the Sudan, the government is trying to bring the RSF using the the banned gas in El-Fasher. But I think that previously there have been also the same accusation has been against the Sudanese military. So this is something which we supposed to be that not an external actor, not an external ethnic or religious group is actually killing others, but this is a pure a search or the hunger for power. And this is where it is very important the world or the international community, or particularly UN Security Council. Unfortunately, this UN Security Council is, as I see, it's in a kind of in a coma situation. It has to come out of it. It needs to keep show its relevance. It needs to work, and it needs to get these two people, two power, the two power-hungry generals to come into senses and try to find a solution. Otherwise, Sudan is on the verge of another, splitting the country, because after Sudan, the Sudan is now virtually run by two governments.
I think it was more than 15 million people displaced. It's a huge number of people. They're running around literally just trying to find some kind of sanctuary, a safe place where they will not be assaulted or attacked, killed by either of the warring factions. Is there any sanctuary within the country? Will people be forced beyond the borders to other countries?
The number 15 million is just some time before, but the number is increasing, and particularly what is happening now, the number might have increased much more. But this is some things that the countries where they're supposed to come, there have been accusations, even Europe has been giving money to the RSF, informally at least, to keep the people inside. So many of the people, those who have gone to only neighboring countries. Most of the migration have been taken place within the country, and that is extremely dangerous because they are moving from one place to another all the time, depending on who is in charge that time, because that is also has really moved quite pendulum-like in the last 2 years or more than 2 years. So I think it's a very, very difficult situation in the country. The international community has failed to provide basic humanitarian assistance there because, as I said, the focus has been there or in other places. What has happened, though, a new formula has come in, though, because the Sudanese diaspora, international community, to some extent, directly have been supporting and through the local communities, because they're not exactly the kind of power-hungry generals are not interested in any way providing or aiding the aid to come into these people, those who have been displaced or those who have been affected. So somehow the local agencies have worked to some extent, but that is very small compared to what that region or what that country needs now. No one is, very few countries outside the region are accepting the people, those who are coming outside. And internal situation is extremely terrible and very difficult now for the international community to really provide, if they want to provide the aid.
Ashok, it was great to speak to you. Thanks for your time. Ashok Swain is my guest, Professor of Peace and Conflict Research at Uppsala University.